Tonight, on World Explorers, we create an entire world of spaghetti, but there's a twist. The spaghetti is made of rocks. Dun dun dun! And pterodactyls.
Okay.
Hi!
Hello, welcome back to World Explorers, the podcast where we explore worlds of our own creation. I'm Casey, and this is Isaac,
Hi! Again.
he's our prompt master. We haven't given him an official name. If you're on YouTube, let us know in the comments what's a good name, and if you're not on YouTube, I don't know what to tell you. Just think of a good name and
I
send it through the weird email thingy that's complicated.
I couldn't come up with a more creative way to say hello this time around.
Oh, that's okay. We post one of these a week. We can't afford to be that creative.
This being creative is literally our job.
Yeah, so all our creativity energy goes into creating the world and stories based off it, not in our introductions, okay? We're saving it for what's
Okay.
important, which is our prompt. What's the prompt?
So you remember way back when we created that awesome, unique fantasy world with the Greenwood elves and the glass-winged fairies?
Yeah, it's our most popular episode. Part one is
And
anyways.
and the Kieran milking.
Yes. You.
So I was thinking that we could do a new and original creative take on sci-fi, but
Oh.
also because I am far better at fantasy, and I didn't want it to be too similar to something like Star Trek, with all the where it's a pure like technology and science mumbo jumbo, especially since we're not great at the science stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking it could be more like science fantasy, where it's like still
Okay.
takes place in space and is more than just create a planet, give it some unique life and plants, and then hop on over to another planet and create a new environment. So, like, one of the ideas that I was thinking was something like um, a unique asteroid, because I was thinking of like asteroid belts and asteroid I can't think of what they're called, asteroid fields.
Belts,
And one
fields,
of the, and I was thinking,
minefields.
what if we had like an asteroid? It was like one solid asteroid, but how do I explain how it looks? It looks kind of like a pretzel, and
I'm
the
imagining a
pretzel,
pretzel floating in space.
and it's like growing out more uh limbs. I don't know, noodle like rocks slowly over time,
I am imagining
whirling around into a sphere of a bunch of connected by like a bunch of bridges of rock. How do you describe this?
we put a pile of spaghetti into space.
Yes, you put a pile of spaghetti into space and then you inflate it so that it's full of air in the
Okay.
center, and you got this sphere of spaghetti, but it's hollow on the inside. Or maybe you've got some strings of spaghetti uh, going through it, creating bridges connecting it. Something kind of like that is
Okay,
floating
and
through space.
then
And over
and
time,
then
it's growing.
meatballs, right, are like the little planet things or areas,
We
home
could
areas. No?
we could have meatballs as planets, sure.
No, well, no, I'm just following the analogy. I'm not saying that this is legitimate spaghetti and meatballs. I'm just
I mean, I
saying
wasn't
in in this, if the spaghettis is the bridges, the meatballs would be like the places that are connected, but they're not. They're all rock and bridges and stuff.
sure. Yes, let something like that. And this is like a giant solid asteroid, and I was thinking maybe like over time it's like growing and expanding very slowly. Kind of like the crystal islands that breed.
Okay. So,
Um,
is it just like magnet? You know how things in space have a magnetic field or whatever it's called, a gravity field, where it like attracts things, like the Earth keeps things into.
Gravitational field.
Yeah, those. Is it like it has that and it just brings space junk together to grow limbs?
Okay, that's the part that I couldn't figure out because again, I was thinking because we're not great at the whole pseudoscience and stuff, maybe we could add in a fantasy element to the sci-fi and make it sci-fi science fantasy.
I mean, yeah,
Kind
I
of like Star Wars with the Force.
look. I am a firm believer that magic is just science we don't understand yet. So I will still try to explain things because that's just how I work. So
Okay.
you can't stop me there. But yeah,
Ooh,
but magic elements are fine. But so we have our
I just
spaghetti plate of spaghetti and meatballs. They're attracting dust and particles from space to make themselves bigger over time.
I just came up with an idea of how it can be like changing shape and everything.
Okay.
What if it's like taking material from point A and transferring it to point B to extend a bridge in a certain area, but it's also shortening it in other areas?
So now
And it
we're
would be like a
saying
very slow process.
so now we're
But
saying that the spaghetti meatball pile is sentient.
maybe not
To the se-
sentient, kind of like a
uh
tree can grow from the ground
I want
and
to use a Hogwarts example again, but you don't understand because you haven't watched or read Harry Potter. But it's
no,
a
but a lot of the I'm sure that most people listening have.
so you know you don't, but viewers, you know the stairwell in Harry Potter that
Oh, is
changes.
that the stair thingy? Oh, yes, I think I am actually familiar with
Okay,
that.
it's like that. So like it's not sentient, but it's sentient. So it's not human intelligence, but it's still like there's a magic about it that it moves places and goes from one classroom to another. So
There you
it's
go.
that yeah, this is what this is like, right? It's a spaghetti Hogwarts staircase.
Yes, something like that.
But made out
That's
of
what we
rock.
created
It's not
it.
edible.
Yes, and floating through space.
Floating through space. Okay, I think we've got the world quotation marks around world established.
Okay, now that's just one part of the world. That is a very small part of the world because
What do you mean?
I'm thinking that's like just one area of space that you could travel to.
Well, yeah,
This
but
doesn't all take place inside the spaghetti world.
okay. Well, I wasn't sure if the spaghetti was like universe size or even
No, I
galaxy
was thinking
sized.
more like moon size, maybe smaller.
I don't know. I think this would be fun though, like universe side, and you can kind of have your magical element because it's space exploration isn't so much about like hopping on a rocket ship and flying off, but it's more like just hope watching bridges grow and hoping that like and going on different paths and making sure seeing if they actually go anywhere or not, and then meeting new people that way or creatures or whatever live on the different planets.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to right now. I'm trying to decide which would be more interesting: going and making this one small part of a bigger world, or making this the world and building on it.
See, I'm thinking of our time crunch, and I vote making this the entire thing because I don't think we have time to build a universe.
I mean, we don't need to build an entire universe. Just some key components in the base.
Well, let's play with the idea of a spaghetti universe, and we always have the rule if we feel like we're not going anywhere or we want to do something else, we switch over. Plus, if we stick with spaghetti universe, I get to make that the title. Okay?
Okay. Uh, Spaghetti universe flying through space.
Yeah. I mean, it
So
is space. It's huge.
so how do people living on this spaghetti rock get nourishment? We would need to have like plants or livestock or something on the rock,
I don't know.
unless people eat rocks.
I mean, that's always a possibility, but I mean, I guess I mean, this is the size of the universe, so there's tons of different planets connecting, and I'm sure each of them have their own unique world and story and people groups and stuff. So I think the more thing, like, to fit with the theme better, would be more focusing on transportation between these what does life on the spaghetti bridges look like to people? Does it do have people invented like light moving the speed of light so they can travel to places faster, or is this literally generations have spent their entire life on the spaghetti bridge? Because
I
it's
was
it's long.
I was thinking generation. Well, I think that technology and transportation and all of that would like vary greatly between um, civilizations, because I imagine a lot of civilizations would be like split in half sometimes, or or certain civilizations might collide into each other. Maybe
Uh,
they would mix up and then split again. Uh, there would be some where it's like maybe they're close to each other but they don't collide, so people start going back and forth between them a whole bunch.
yeah, that's
Uh,
something. I something. I guess that's something we kind of need to establish is how fast do spaghetti bridges like move, and you seem to have established that they can take planets and like civilizations with them, which I approve of. I think that's a fun concept that the spaghetti arms can just like wrap around a planet and say, "Hey, you're now closer to this person, even though you were close to that planet earlier. Now you're here."
Yep, like there's no orbit or anything, no set system of traveling around a sun or anything. It's everything is just constantly moving randomly, and you have no idea where everything's going. But actually have some idea because it's all moving very slowly and maybe in some general direction, but you might veer off towards another planet at some point, depending on where the spaghetti rock feels like bending.
Yeah, it might take you 360. One moment you'll be like, "Oh, that's a fun new planet. If we get a bit closer, we could walk out. Oh, nope, bye planet. It was nice seeing you." That type of thing. So,
Yep.
yeah. So are we so time-wise, are we thinking generations or could this happen in like a few years? I think days is too fast. There's no time to like get to know civilizations and stuff, but I
I
think
mean, I think that maybe it could vary is randomly between different civilizations and spaghetti arms, but I think that maybe the average might be like 3 months of civilizations being close to each other, and then by the time the 3 months is over, they will have already separated or split up, or there's a chance that they completely collide and are smashed together for many years, and then maybe uh, the 2 centuries later or 2 decades later, they just suddenly split again because the spaghetti arm just sort of breaks in half as material is moving from this middle point out to a different arm,
okay, yeah.
and the material just happened to start being moved from where the civilization is, and then suddenly each civilization has to relocate in opposite directions because there's a growing gap between them, and you got to move everything away to a new location before the arm disappears out from under all your buildings.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense to me. So it's very, but it's not like sent one person is gonna see a lot of planets before they die. Is what we're going for. Like you're gonna collide with
Yeah,
multiple people and cultures constantly.
yeah, and you can also have some control over where you go if you like travel. Maybe if you were to like travel across the different spaghetti arms via whatever method of transportation they have, to get to just go exploring and get to a bunch of different locations. Although there's a decent chance you may never see your home planet again because it might move.
Yeah, it will move. I think
Yeah,
this is that it will
Yeah,
move.
it might move to a place where you might have trouble finding it.
Yeah, which makes for some fun, interesting stories of people going on adventures just trying to find some specific planet. You got your classic love story. You met when you were young for, like, maybe they were collided for several years or something, and then suddenly they got separated and happened to be on the opposite sides of the planet at the time of separation, and now they're hunting for each other, and
You've
yeah,
also got the story of the Lost Treasure Planet, where you got to go and find this hidden planet somewhere in the spaghetti mess. As you're going on an adventure along the spaghetti to find the planet of goodies.
now we've already. I feel like we've already established this, but let's confirm this for our listeners. This spaghetti ball is producing a consistent heat and oxygen throughout the entire spaghetti sphere. That should just be noted. The spaghetti is doing it. So
Maybe while it's moving around, it's it's changing like the molecular structure, some of the things around it. So maybe there's like an atmosphere or there's air around it, around the noodles or around the whole thing, and maybe it's like uh, creating its own sort of photosynthesis where it's rearranging all of the molecules around it to create oxygen so people can actually breathe.
yeah, I'm sure there's some scientific reason why these this weird spaghetti thing can allow people to breathe and also produce heat and stuff. So I guess
But when
seasons are out and rain is. I don't
yeah,
think rain's a thing either.
yeah, but you gotta know when you're if you're writing this, explaining how people are able to breathe might be more trouble than it's worth to put it into the world building and the story. If it comes up naturally somehow, then go right ahead. But for the most part, it might just take away from the story rather than add on to it.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to like paint this the proper visual. So if you're standing in the civilization, and you got like this spear. I'm trying to think. How far apart? How big is this spaghetti? I guess. Like when does it end? Are we thinking
Uh,
galaxy size?
we could go with about the size of a planet, and then you look around and like all the other planets are smaller. That you see that are like colliding with each other. So it's less like these other planets that you see are they're not so much full size planets as much as they are about the size of maybe a town or a
Okay.
city,
Yeah.
or
So
it's just that one random loner who's just a hermit living on his own little branch of spaghetti string.
yeah, which almost makes me think like the arms itself kind of just become the planet, like the area towns live in.
Yeah,
It's just you never know when a crack's gonna happen in the middle of your town, and you're gonna half of it's just gonna be gone in one direction, while the other half goes in another. So towns are on spaghetti arms, right? Like they just live along it. So the planet, this thing, which I guess is it's a massive. Okay, how about it's a planet the size of our solar system?
okay, we'll go with that.
Just so we can have some serious gaps between towns where like it's a big deal if you get separated. Obviously, these arms move really. I guess like I'm trying to think how fast you'd have to move to get. Because I know for us, we at the moment cannot get to Pluto in a lifetime. Like if we had a rocket at the fastest speed we could go, that we humanly know how to go, and sent it off, it'd be like 2 or 3 generations before we made it to Pluto. So
Or you could ride a magic school bus.
we don't dwell. No. So these arms have to be moving extremely fast, but it just seems slow because space. So they're
I would
actually moving like faster than the speed of sound and stuff, but like you don't feel that.
Yeah, but the way they're very often working is like it's taking material from one point A and it's like maybe sliding it or rolling it across the ground and moving it over to point B, or moving it through the
True.
inside of the noodle. So it might. So if that were the case, then there could be a civilization just hanging out, and then all of a sudden, without anybody even knowing what just happened, the entire arm that they are living on just suddenly disappears, and the entire civilization is just wiped out.
Okay, so that is if it slides along and everything's like attached to an arm and you're standing on it, you go with it when it moves. The only issue you have to worry about is when a break occurs. So when it decides, hey, we're splitting a half. In which case, I guess in this place that happens suddenly, without warning, and it's extremely dangerous. And honestly, that adds to the story element of like, because if you think about it, if a person's on one side of the town and another's on another, and the split is like really slow, they could just jump across. People could like get settled who they want to be with, and you're all good. But if this break is actually like this fast, like it happens and it's done, some people die, buildings get lost, it's terrifying. It's just a thing, a fear you live with. Then yeah, then suddenly that separation that happens suddenly and so quickly is a real concern. Cause
Okay,
it's sudden
I'm
and it's gone.
I'm okay with it being fast, but not like an instant thing, because I think that maybe it would take you can make it so it takes a few minutes at
Well,
least
yeah,
for it
yeah.
to finish. Because this way you it's like if you were writing this and just suddenly happened, it's like, oh wait, what happened? Especially for the reader. But if you are having this like much slower, but also at the same time fast, dramatic, tense scene where everybody's rushing around really quickly. Get everything in order. Get all the kids onto one side. It's like grab all the valuables. Put everything. It's like you have all this chaos happening while it's like slowly separating. So it's like it's moving slow, but it feels fast and action packed.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
but
Here's
it does take maybe let's say it took like 10 minutes to finish splitting to the point where nobody could cross anymore.
yeah, but okay. So
That is a very fast paced 10 minutes.
yeah, here though is an interesting idea. So when the thing starts growing and it senses that there's like buildings on top of it or like structures, it probably would slow down as it tries to tear that stuff apart and like figure out how to do that. So and then like once the split is done and it's clean, it starts going full speed again. Just so we can have that, because the idea is plan if this is universe size, getting like a planet to getting Earth to visit Pluto in 3 months would take something. So
Yeah,
just
I mean,
logistic
again, we
wise,
could shrink it and make it so it doesn't take quite that long. Like
true.
we could again shrink it down to about the size of Jupiter.
Yeah, but if we do that, then we have the issue of people being able to actually like easily get to planet without the spaghetti bridges. Like the spaghetti bridges
Okay,
are
so
no
we'll
big
make it the
deal.
size of the sun.
True, that's quite the size.
Okay,
There's
that's
a lot of it.
pretty massive,
No,
but it's
yeah, I
also
agree.
not universe. It's also not
Yeah, no,
a
no.
solar
Sun
system
size
size.
sounds good to me. And then we could have it go slower, but
It's sun sized.
it's a sun-sized spaghetti world.
It's a it's the sunny fun size.
Yeah, okay. So our universe is the size of the sun. Okay. That makes yeah. And splits are concerning and terrifying, and 10 minutes go by, and the next thing you know, you realize you are not on the right side and your family's on the other side, and you're screwed. And then you have to go off on a journey through spaghetti bridges and other civilizations and splits and stuff to find them.
This is not the world I expected to be building tonight.
Do we ever build the world you expect? Except that one time when you directed it, and even then that took a weird turn.
Oh yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what I was gonna be doing. I just sort of said whatever came into my mind.
Exactly. Yeah. See, look, this is how the worlds work. You give a prompt, and then it's my job to take it in the opposite direction you thought every time. That is my only goal in life: is to take whatever prompt you came and go in a direction you didn't plan. So then we're both just out there and not sure what the heck we're doing. We're floating in space on our spaghetti bridge. We have no
Yes.
clue what
At
planet we're
least
going to
we're
ram
original.
into.
At least we're original.
No, I have to give that. Our worlds are quite like don't I don't know where we come up with them and how each week we keep coming up with like new weird ones. But we do have
I come up.
I do have some questions with Spaghetti World still. Like, we do still have the food issue, and like, what are buildings made out of?
Rock, I imagine, is the primary material that buildings are made out of.
So,
As for food, let's say that there are uh, gray, like a dark gray, gross looking pterodactyl like creatures flying around through the air
okay.
randomly, and people are hunting them and just shooting them out of the air or smacking them out of the air and eating those. So there's your food. Or we could say that the world is actually made out of spaghetti.
I'm not willing to go that far. Uh, the spaghetti wise, the pterodactyl creatures sound kind of cool. Especially considering when they sleep, they can like land on the ground and then blend in. Like they just look like more stone and rock, which is kind of fun.
Yes,
What would the texture
yes, but
of?
what do the pterodactyls eat? They eat.
They are made out of I'm. I want to say they're like made out of a similar substance to the spaghetti bridges in the sense that the bridges grow. Honestly, the bridges almost could be edible. Okay, because
Maybe whatever this rock thingy is,
isn't rock.
the bridges are inedible, but they're almost edible, and the pterodactyl creatures eat are able to eat them, and then they eat
Oh
them, and they get
yeah.
like maybe this rock coating or
Well,
whatever
I
as
mean,
their
it's the same
skin,
way how like
but
a
they on the
cow can eat
inside they're
grass.
softer and made of meat.
Yeah,
What?
it's the same way like a cow can eat grass. We can't. We could, but it's not. The grass is kind of edible, but not really for us. But for the cow, it
Yes,
perfectly is, and then the cow is very edible to us. That's how this works. Because if you think
yes.
about it, this spaghetti world is a living. It's a living thing. Like it's got thought processes. It's doing things. It's
There's some kind of nutrients in there.
yeah. It's more alive than like our planet Earth is. There's more sentience to it than just a rock floating in space. Now, that could be like an interesting thing to build up is that this thing is a real creature, in which case it might have a heart or like something that drives it.
That's where the treasure planet is.
Yes, but there also has to be lots and lots of things protecting said heart. Because I don't want to think about what happens to this world if someone manages to kill this growing thing. Does the growth stop? And then people are just like stuck where they're at? But then does it start decomposing?
I like
In
that.
which case everyone's
Everything becomes
screwed?
crumbly.
And then everyone is screwed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, but how is there a way to fix that? Is there a way to bring the planet back? Can we Moana this?
CPR.
See,
CPR.
we could just Moana it, where like she has a little Heartstone and she puts it back and it fixes everything. That CPR. I'm not sure. How do you CPR a creature the size of the sun?
with um with hands
Okay, I think
and
I
the
think this
mouth
as
the
cool.
size of the earth.
Okay, I think as cool as it is to have like a heart and like brains and stuff, I think this is like a being in the sense that molecules are, where like each piece of the earth is kind of a living thing, and together they make this mass planet. So if you cut off a few, you're fine. I think makes the most sense
Yeah,
for
but
this.
if you were to destroy the core of the earth, you may cause problems.
Yeah, but our core is not easy to get to. This core is it's a spaghetti world. You can get anywhere if you believe enough.
Yeah.
Which
All you have to do is believe in the spaghetti rock.
is it weird? This world sounds so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's not a ridiculous world.
It's only as ridiculous as we make it by saying spaghetti 100 times over
Yeah,
and
I think
over.
if we
Like
didn't,
how
I
many?
didn't. Yeah, if we didn't call it spaghetti, I don't think this world would like feel ridiculous even remotely. Don't call it a
Yeah.
spaghetti world in your
So
book; it'll be
all
ruined.
right. Yeah, so instead, what we're gonna have to do is say the ramen world.
That is worse.
The world of ramen.
One, ramen is more of a weaved texture, and this is not that type of world, so spaghetti is more accurate. And two, ramen is worse than spaghetti. Because
That true.
spaghetti is the
Spaghetti
sophisticated
tastes
ramen.
better.
Also, spaghetti is the
Pretty much.
sophisticated version of ramen. Ramen is what you get when you can't afford spaghetti, and it's sad.
Okay, so it's what I would do with Play-Doh.
Okay.
So it's the Isaac's Play-Doh world.
Yeah. No, yeah. Fair.
Although I would, if I were given the option to build anything with Play-Doh, I'd probably make a Play-Doh monster eating another Play-Doh monster.
I mean, bird nest might be a better description, maybe. It's the bird nest type world.
Maybe I don't. I think Spaghetti World.
I'm afraid Spaghetti World is the best, but
We'll leave whoever is writing the book to describe this because it's not easy.
it's not. It's easy. It's easy to describe. It's really easy. It's a plate of spaghetti, like world done. No,
But
what's
inflated.
yeah. The hard
The
part.
space between the noodles.
The hard part is not making it sound like my little brother came up with it. That's the
Yeah.
challenge with describing like a world like this. So your
Pterodactyls!
yeah, my
Do
little
these
brother
people
came
have
up with
any
it.
kind of vegetable, or do they just eat meat?
I mean, we could have the idea of like plants growing. It is a living creature, so in like the sense that you can get fungus and stuff growing on your body. It's gross, but it happens. Uh, these creatures could have stuff like that happening. That
Or
might be
maybe
edible.
if you dig enough into the spaghetti noodle, you find some sort of greenery growing on the inside as like its core, and you can harvest that. But it's hard to get to.
Yeah, yeah, that's an option. I feel like there's plenty of option for like food wise. I don't I feel like trees would ruin the aesthetic of the world.
So
Like
are
have
there water streams that just come by occasionally that you
oh,
drink
I
from and
totally
then they just
forgot
move away?
they need liquid.
Is there waterfalls coming from other arms that fall down onto other
Okay.
arms?
No, I have a suggestion. This is the one world we create where they don't need water.
Oh,
I know it's
you're
I
insane.
know it's a crazy idea. But maybe, just maybe, water isn't a thing.
I like this idea.
I'm saying this as it's quite clear that in the background you guys can hear my hamster drinking happily at her water. But in this world, she wouldn't do it wouldn't have to do that. So, no rivers, no waterfalls, no rain, just because those just aren't things they need. Now, the closest thing to rain I feel like could happen is maybe, I don't know, like an asteroid from out of our little sun-sized universe comes crashing in and starts like breaking noodle bridges, and then those noodle bridges kind of scatter, and that kind of rains in a bit on you.
Meteor shower.
It sounds more painful than probably anything else, but
Grab your umbrellas.
I'm not sure how much an umbrella would do with a giant rock coming towards you.
I watched Planet 51. Umbrellas are fantastic against rocks.
That is a cartoon, and cartoons are never, ever supposed to be used for real life as examples of things that happen in real life. Or else they would have done a live action.
What if it's a historical cartoon?
It isn't. At least not in
You know,
that sense.
Planet 51 lied to me.
Yes, it did. You're just gonna have to accept that. Move on with your life. But I think we're good here.
I based my life decisions on that movie.
Well, that's just another issue you have to deal with. But I'm personally ready for a ending, a conclusion, a farewell, a dismissal. I'm gonna keep saying words until you say something.
I'm trying to think of space song. I've got a couple,
Uh,
but I don't think that they're quite good enough.
do you know a spaghetti song?
Spaghetti, spaghetti. Oh, I love spaghetti. I don't love my soup or my bread, just spaghetti, spaghetti, spaghetti. Yeah, give me some Parmesan.
He knew a spaghetti song. Okay then, that's a great
No,
place
I
to
just
end.
I just parodied the bunny song.
Yeah, I assumed, but that's still, it's good enough for me. So, farewell everyone. Bye.